Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Anglican Church of the Good Shepherd. I'm Margaret Hogarth, a parishioner here, and you're seeing me instead of Derwin because Derwin is on vacation enjoying time with his family. I hope you're enjoying the summer weather with your family as well. This morning we will be hearing from the Reverend Natasha Brubaker. It's the first of 3 sermons she'll be doing for us in Derwin's absence. I'm looking forward to hearing what she has to share with us this morning. But first, let us begin with prayer. Holy God of Israel, draw us near to you, so that in place of hostility there may be peace, in place of loneliness, compassion, in place of aimlessness, direction, in place of sickness, healing. Through Jesus Christ our Lord, who lives and reigns with you and the Holy Spirit, one God, now and forever. Amen. Now let us turn our attention to the proclamation of the Word.
A reading from the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, and my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord my whole life long. Hear what the Spirit is saying to the church. This is the Holy Gospel of our Savior, Jesus Christ, according to St. Mark. The apostles gathered around Jesus and told him all that they had done and taught. He said to them, "Come away to a deserted place all by yourselves and rest a while." For many were coming and going, and they had no leisure even to eat. And they went away in the boat to a deserted place by themselves. Now many saw them going and recognized them, and they hurried there on foot from all the towns and arrived ahead of them. As he went ashore, he saw a great crowd, and he had compassion for them, because they were like sheep without a shepherd. And he began to teach them many things. When they had crossed over, they came to land at Gennesaret and moored the boat. When they got out of the boat, people at once recognized him and rushed about that whole region and began to bring the sick on mats to wherever they heard he was. And wherever he went, into villages or cities or farms, they laid the sick in the marketplaces and begged him that they might touch even the fringe of his cloak. And all who touched it were healed. The Gospel of the Christ. We talk a lot about how busy we are. Overworked, overwhelmed, never enough downtime. The pace of modern life is harried and frantic. Even our vacations take on an urgent tone, checking off doing this or seeing that. We find it hard to truly rest, to slow down. We often feel all discombobulated, scattered, and fragmented. At least I know that I do, far more often than I would. The apostles seem to be in the same situation. They are running themselves ragged. Life is so hectic they don't even have time to eat. Jesus realizes they all need to pause. But it is not to be. Even going to a deserted place gives them no respite. The locals see them heading off and rush to where they expect the boat to land. When Jesus and the apostles arrive, they are greeted, Mark tells us, by a great crowd. Rather than annoyance or anger, which would be perfectly reasonable responses, Jesus feels compassion, co-feeling for them. They are lost. They are aimless. They are in need. They are like sheep without a shepherd. And this is the heart of the story. Why are the people in such disarray? Why are they so almost desperate? Why are they frantically chasing after Jesus wherever he goes? Why are they like sheep without a shepherd? Where has the shepherd gone? This story about Jesus is not one that is primarily about the need to rest and recover, nor is it primarily about feeling empathy for others, nor is it even primarily about Jesus' miraculous ability to heal. These are all very significant parts of it, but they are actually more supporting points. The main point of this story, I would suggest, is about what happens when society is fragmented and falling apart. In such times, people look for a leader who will give them a sense of security and direction. In such times, social cohesion is weakening and people feel lost and abandoned. Any direction seems better than none. And the people of Mark's gospel are looking to Jesus to tell them where to go and what to do and for help. Chad Myers, in his brilliant analysis of the Gospel of Mark, posits that Jesus is responding to and challenging a society marked by segregation and disintegration. Jesus is working to tear down the obstacles to an integrated community, as Chad Myers puts it. We see this by the fact that Jesus' ministry touches every area, every social sphere of life. He is going to the countryside farms, to the rural areas, to the city marketplaces, to towns and villages. No social group is excluded from his travels. He is going to them all. His journeys are not segregated to certain areas. He is crossing the divides. He is bringing people together, not further alienating them from each other. We also see how his ministry is tearing down obstacles to integration through the healing symbol of his cloak. All people had to do to be restored to wholeness and to health, the story tells us, is touch the fringe of his cloak. These fringes would be the blue tassels at the four corners of his garment, which served as a reminder to obey God's commandments. This cloak shows us many things. One is that Jesus is a righteous person, observing the law, or as it is better called, the teaching. Just by touching it, people are healed. And I would suggest that this simple act that has such profound results is an indictment of the rest of society, which is also supposed to be following the teaching. Clearly, society is not following the teaching, because if it was, people would be cared for, fed, and cured. There would be a strong and active sense of mutual care and obligation. A generally healthy, cohesive society has generally healthy people. When the social fabric starts to unravel, and those with power use it as a vehicle for their own wealth and aggrandizement, without regard for the lives of the many, sickness takes hold in all its forms. The sickness of arrogance and greed, the sickness of despair and dislocation, the sickness of poor health, etc., etc. Jesus is the cure for this, as exemplified in the power of touching the fringe of his cloak. He is the embodiment of living rightly, following the teaching. The contrast is astounding. The blue tassels of one man who is stirring up trouble versus the entire social system. Yet Mark is clear. The challenge of Jesus is his exposure of the hard truth that society has become ill and lost its mourning. The urgency and critique of Mark seems to fit our times very well. Many of us feel that things are falling apart on almost every level. In the void, leaders arise who most often play to our basest instincts, not our best. They pour fuel on fear, hatred, and blame. They are not in the least like Jesus, who called us to our highest selves. Rather, they stoke the forces that lead to further disintegration. People retreat into their factions, and lines are drawn even more starkly. Common ground is lost or refused to be seen. Yelling and shouting take over, and through the din, it is impossible to pause, to put the polemic on hold, and to listen. It all becomes overwhelming and exhausting, and we don't know where to look to help us find our way through. We become sheep, like sheep, without a shepherd, rushing around but going nowhere good. We want to find a way to reintegrate and to come back together, but we don't know how. Just like the people pursuing Jesus across the lake and across the countryside. There are parallels to be drawn from the story of Mark and Jesus' critique of his world. As I said, many of us do feel things are falling apart, and we're not necessarily wrong. Or we sense that things are hanging by a and we need to find a new way before it snaps. Heat waves that shatter every record, forest fires that create their own weather, precarious economic situations for so many, record numbers of overdoses, and people coping with tremendous pain through substance abuse, and I could go on. We know that our society, and Canada more broadly, is not one unified reality. It is many realities. And as these various realities are examined closely, we see how far they diverge from each other. This is a very painful and challenging place to be. For many of us, the Canada we thought we knew was fragmented. We are segregated in a sense by our particular experience of life, living within the same country, but in ways that look vastly different from each other. This moment, though, of breaking open is also a moment of God's activity for healing and grace to move. We have a choice. Come together or continue to pull apart. And we have a shepherd to follow, Jesus. We can act like he did. Go out among people, all kinds and sorts of people, and meet each other. Cross divides and lines, not with answers or to fix people, but simply to be present with an open mind and heart, at least to start. And so I'd like to humbly offer 2 ways that we can do that. And there are certainly many more, and if these are not the ways that work for you, that is fine. I know you will find your own. The first one I would suggest is, if you have not already done so, or if it has been a while, to read the report of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission from 2015, especially the 94 calls to action. Canada must face with honesty and humility the history and present truth, the relationship between settlers and Indigenous peoples. Read them over, ponder them. Maybe do a bit more reading about some of the history. Hold it in prayer. Hold it gently in your heart. And after that, let us begin to ask more persistently for those calls to action to be implemented. Not next year, not after the next election, now, today. To come together with compassion and respect and a willingness to take on hard work. For this will be hard work. In fact, for some, it may feel like walking through a very dark valley. But our shepherd is with us. Jesus knows how challenging the work is, and he will walk alongside us as we move through what we must move through, so that God can bring something new to birth. And the second suggestion would be to consider going to one of the healing lodges being erected and cared for by the Bear Clan Patrol of Mohkinstsis. Their Facebook page will tell you where and when they are up. There is also an invitation to help harvest and prepare logs for other healing lodges. These lodges are for all of us, Indigenous and settler, This is reconciliation in action, and also the creating of new friendships and understanding, of crossing divides, of coming together. These lodges stand to honor all those who went to residential schools, those who survived them and those who died in them, and all those whose lives are impacted. They are places of healing and remembering. And that's an important word, because to remember literally means to remember, as in to put the pieces, the members back together. And this ultimately is our holy task in life. I invite you to go. Help harvest people. Sit inside a healing lodge. Listen. Just listen. Without defensiveness or anger, but with an open heart to discover a new family, a new community, a new story for us all. This is where reintegration starts. It is where Jesus is sitting, waiting for us to come, harried and helpless, to touch a blue tassel and to be healed. Amen.